Well, greetings, Lord of Glory family, and thanks for checking out yet another of our Light for My Path videos. I pray that these videos that we produce are meeting you in real life with just a word of encouragement, a word from the Lord, a word to meet you right where you are living your life. That's what God designs His word and ministry to do. It's not meant to be a Sunday morning at Lord of Glory entity, but rather an entity that meets you in everyday life, and that's why we're sending these out to you. So thanks for consuming them, share them, help us get the word out. I pray you're doing well, and I pray that what we talk about today is a blessing to you. I think what we're talking about this month in worship is the concept of determination, of fighting through. We're gathering under the umbrella called the Amazing Maze, and right now I'm standing in our church lobby, standing in a maze that we have constructed as a powerful visual of what life is like for you. Life sometimes can feel like a maze, and we know that. God knows that, and that's why He gives us the gift of His Word to help us navigate and see it through. So we're going to talk briefly today in this Light for My Path about the concept of determination, about fighting through. But first, just a quick story. So there's a member of our congregation who in a previous life worked on cell phone software development. He told me a story not too long ago. He said that when he started in the business, when he would create new software for his cell phone, he'd create it, they would launch it, and they usually had to wait a series of weeks, sometimes even months, to get the results, the feedback from the consumers, from the customers. They'd wait for certain tech professionals to print in a magazine a review. They'd wait till certain customers took time to give them feedback. In this digital era of social media today, he told me that they'll launch now new software for a cell phone, and within hours, have exponentially more feedback than they ever got. People will be tweeting about the update. People will, within hours of getting the new software, produce new YouTube videos demonstrating how the software gets used and its pros and cons. We live, friends, you and I, in a culture of results and feedback now. Think about it. You're not used to things taking a long time. We live in a culture of instant oatmeal, instant mashed potatoes, instant responses, instant fixes. If something's not right, if something's wrong, if something's broken, we expect results, and we expect it to be fixed, and we expect it now. We take that then into our relationships. We expect results and fixes now. Sometimes we even take that into our relationship with God. We think God ought to be answering our needs now. We think if something's not right with us and God or us and someone else, it ought to be made right now. But what does God's Word have to say about this? God in His Word addresses this notion a lot. In fact, in John chapter 16, verse 33, Jesus comes out and says to His disciples, to you and I, in this world you will have trouble. He knew it was coming. He knew it was coming for you. He knew it was coming for me. So that's why He gives us the gift of Galatians chapter 6, verse 9, which is the very verse that we're focusing on this month as a congregation. And it reads like this. And I want you to think about this verse in light of what we talked about, in light of us breathing the air of culture, expecting results now. Here comes God in Galatians 6, 9 saying this, let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. That's Galatians 6:9. So if you have a boss that's driving you absolutely crazy, if you're in a relationship where you feel like it's on life support and really struggling and you want it to be fixed, if you're waiting on God to make something right, here comes a huge promise from God for you. Galatians 6:9, in the midst of you waiting for results, let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we don't give up. Friends, that is a promise from God. Let me just break apart a few of those words. He says, don't become weary. The Greek word there is ekakeo. In other parts of the New Testament, it means don't become spiritless, don't become exhausted, don't lose hope. Let us not become exhausted, spiritless, without hope as we're doing good. Instead, fight through. Have determination. At the proper time. That means in God's timing. As you know, God's timing is sometimes not our own. But here comes a promise, tried and true from God. If you don't become spiritless, exhausted, and weary in doing good, in God's timing, you will reap a harvest if you don't give up. It's not, you might reap a harvest, or hopefully you'll reap a harvest. It's let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time, at God's time, you will reap a harvest if you don't give up. So maybe as you're watching this video, you're thinking of something in your life that you're waiting on God for. Maybe part of you is becoming weary. Be encouraged by God's real life, real time promise for you. He knows this is happening for you. Bend your knees in prayer to Him. Pray that you might not become weary, that you might not lose hope. And then speak a word of trust. God, I trust that you will meet me here. And in your timing, you will make this right. Friends, I pray that for you. If you want to talk or pray about this a little more, come find me or come find a Christian friend or someone you trust and pour into them and let God meet you in that time. That's what each of us is here for. Friends, this concludes this month's Light for My Path. Let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time, we will reap a harvest if we don't give up. God bless you.